Morning, my name's Ray. I'm with Team S.T.E.A.M. and today I'm out in front of Flash Industrial Painting just getting ready to fire up this 2006 Kenworth W900. Now we're actually working on two projects at the same time. We've got a 98 Peterbilt that we're working on. We had to order a hood for it, so we're not as gung-ho on that one. We got to wait for a hood to get here, but there's still plenty to do on the truck, and that's what we're doing. And we're also going to be working on this one at the same time. And today what I'm doing is I'm going to get this pulled out back, get this chassis sandblasted, get this in the shop so we can start masking on it. All right, so I got this blasted yesterday, as you can see. It's all back to bare metal, including the front here. And now here, first thing this morning, we're going to take all the parts off that we intend to take off and get it wiped down with thinner, and then get to masking on it. And we actually have three projects going right now here on the premises. We've got this 06 that I've got the crew starting on today. And we've got this 1905 freezer, motorless freezer, basically a cooler, but it could be called a freezer, that I'm putting back into shape. And we've got this 1998 short nose 379 Peterbilt out here in front of the shop, because we've ordered a hood for it, and you know, now we're gonna be waiting for who knows how long. Could be anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, or maybe even more, depending on how it all goes. And so in the meantime, we're gonna be doing stuff like pulling the exhaust off, pulling these wings off. I've got a bunch of work to do to this back to sleeper, and you'll see that once I get these wings off. That thing is caved in. The more I look at it, the more I realized it's seriously caved in. So again, just like that 95 Pete I did a few videos ago, I'm going to be shoving on that, and all that can be done outside. So there's a lot that we can do while this truck sits outside, and while we do that 06 inside, and while I finish that freezer. And among the things we're going to do to this truck here in the shop is we're going to remove these mirrors entirely and plug the holes. We're going to fix this. You can see this is supposed to be well on the inside of this, and it isn't. So we're going to look into that and get that all fixed. We've got some stripping to do on these doors. As you can see, we got paint just coming off. We have to come back with it and find out just how well the paint is adhered to these doors. We may end up just stripping them entirely. And the back of this one, for being one of these guys' trucks, as you know, I've done quite a few of these trucks now. And most of their miles are highway miles. They do some gravel, but for the most part, all their trucks are all highway miles. So you see a normal amount of dents back here. This one must have had a route at one point in time, at least, that took it down a gravel road a lot, because this one is the most beat up one from this company that I've seen yet. It's got some pretty good, this has got like oil field truck damage on it. So yeah, it's pretty beat. I mean, these are big dents, and they actually have the entire back pushed in a little bit. I mean, the bodywork is going to be big and solid right here. And it's that way all the way to the top. I mean, this is actually really beat up, especially for one of these guys' trucks. But I mean, for an 06, this has like 1995 damage. So it must have seen quite a bit of gravel road action in its life. And up here, up under the hood, I'm standing on the radiator right now. We've got, that guy's loose and sloppy. We're gonna need to take it off, shore up the fiberglass, re-drill the holes. This one here barely moves. Nonetheless, we'll take it off, we'll shore up the fiberglass, and then here in the center, you can see where it is pulled so far and so many times that it's actually slotted the fiberglass. We'll go ahead and take all that out and re-glass all that and strengthen it again. Well, the crew's going to walk through that door here any second. Might as well get started. All right, we're getting some of this stuff done here. Some of the masking done. Got it all taken apart. Got it all wiped down with thinner. And now we're zoning in on some of the masking. All right, now we got everything all taken apart and all masked up. Now the next step is I'm going to have Ash and Brent. Ash and Brent are the two working on this one with me this time. I'm going to have them sanding and scratching the roof, sanding and scratching the hood, sanding and scratching the rivets around the doors, some of these things that aren't getting in the way of what I'm doing, which is going to be marking out and sanding and beginning to fill in the amount of dents that the back of this truck has. And again, for one of these guys' trucks, this is the worst I've seen by far. This is pretty damn dented up. Just getting some scratching and sanding done. And getting some of this body work finished and getting some of this scratching done at the same time. Getting ready to get into some glazing. And here's the back of the truck with all of the initial body work done and literally 3/4 of it glazed. The glazing is the blue, the initial body work is in the red, or probably appears orange. And that's all I have left to do for the glazing back here. Okay, there's those 2 holes where the mirrors were, and then the ones on the inside have both been prepped as well. Now, since I'm busy prepping fiberglass, I'm going to focus my attention on taking these retainers off and glassing whatever needs it underneath them so we can tighten them up and have them be good and sturdy again. And then of course taking that apart entirely and re-glassing it and giving it some strength as well. All right, now I'm standing on the radiator. I'm looking down inside of the hood here. I've got a board laid out from one side clear to the other to kind of help distribute my weight better. I've got a little step ladder in there so I can get in and out of here easy enough. I've got this taken off and all prepped. Both sides of it, the top side and the underside. I've got that taken off and it's all prepped, top side and underside. This didn't have any fiberglass damage at all. It just needed tightened up just a little bit, so it's good to go. But I'm just now getting ready to put a big fiberglass patch on that one and on that one. This on the top isn't so bad, but the underside's worn almost completely away. Okay, so these repairs are done and they've sat a while. And if you've watched very many of my fiberglass repairs, you know that it's not uncommon for me to use masking tape and put it on top of it just so it remains uniform underneath it, and so these sorts of things don't sit and droop. So as you can see, it is quite a bit more uniform under the tape. And this repair here is, shoot, 4 or 5 layers thick. It is good and thick. Keep that from ripping out again. Again, same here. See, the masking tape peels right up off of it. This is nice and cured underneath, and it's flattened out pretty darn well. It's a lot more uniform. This is just a weird little lip here that came off the edge that I'm going to cut off. That's just some of the waste that you do cut off when you're done with one of these kind of repairs. Now again, for being the underside, this is good and flat and good and thick. This is, again, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 layers thick in some spots. It's completely rebuilt with a heavy layer of fiberglass. And it's good and uniform because of the tape. Now, like I said, I'll go ahead and cut these little sharp edges off of here. And then this guy will be ready to put back together. Drill a couple holes, we're good to go. All right, these are all tightened down. This guy's completely repaired and ready to go again, good and solid. This guy's completely repaired, ready to go again. I got some bigger washers on there. Big old thick repair underneath here. Good size repair up here. A full repair in between. So this guy's ready for the long haul as well. And so at this point, I'm ready to get my little step ladder and my board up out of here and get all my tools up out of here and close this hood and get on with the rest of this project. Okay, and here's these 3, there's 6 in total. They're all prepped on both sides of locations where the mirror mounts were. And they've all been prepped, capped off from the backside with fiberglass, and I'm gonna get some body work on them. And here's that same hole from the inside. Just a little 1.5-inch patch on there. And down there, and 2 on the insides as well. And here's what it looks like on the passenger side here, all glazed in and ready to go. Same with over here, it's all glazed in, glazing's been sanded. Now I'm going to take my DA, finish sanding these fenders, sand around these bodywork places just a little more tightly. And as you can see, there's a lot of this clear coat that just needs to come off. And so I'm going to go ahead and get most of this stripped off just with a 180 grit and get this guy ready for some primer. All right, we've got all the sanding and scratching done. Now I'm going to blow everything off, get everything cleared back out of the way, and go ahead and get some primer on this guy.
It's a 16 buff in the dark.
All right, so here it is first thing the next morning. This has had all night to sit and cure. And the goal today is going to be to get the blue on the fenders and to get the black primer, not the paint, just the primer on the chassis. All right, now at this point, we've got everything sanded, everything finished, everything blown off front to back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get some epoxy primer on these fenders. Then I'm going to two coat with black epoxy primer the chassis, and then I'm going to shoot the fenders in a blue metallic single stage urethane. All right, now that that's primed, let's go ahead and get some paint on this guy. All right, well, here it is first thing the next morning. These fenders had all yesterday afternoon and all last night to go ahead and get good and cured out. So this morning I'm gonna go ahead and segregate them off with some vinyl tape. So when Ash and Brent get here in a few minutes, they can go ahead and mask up the fenders. Once that's done, they're basically done for the day. I'll probably turn them loose at that point because they've already scratched and sanded everything. And now all the remaining steps, 100% of them are all me. And that means that I'll be crawling all over this truck, covering every square centimeter of it, finishing out anything that needs it. Getting all of the wet sanding primer sanded down, getting all the details finished up on this cab and hood. And then I'm going to prime them in white, paint the chassis in black, paint the cab and hood in white, and if you've seen any of my videos at all, you've already seen this part before, where I come back and I very carefully reshoot the chassis. So it's nice and slick and black, and I do it in such light pressure that no overspray gets on the cab or the hood. Done it 100 times, maybe 200. And that's the progression of events today. That's what we're looking to have happen today. Get everything sanded, get everything primed and painted again. And we're just getting some masking done here. Getting these fenders banged out, it won't be long. And we'll be sanding on it, maybe even getting some paint on it. And we're gonna throw a tarp over this here this morning too. All right, we've got all the masking done. All the sanding has been done, front to back, top to bottom. I've blown everything off, got everything ready to go. Now I'm gonna mix up some primer. I'm gonna get the cab in white primer, chassis in black paint, the cab in white paint, the chassis skim coated again in black paint. All right, it's about time we get some paint on this guy. it is first thing the next morning. I've already walked around this guy and looked at everything, and I think it turned out pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get the fenders unmasked, and then Ash and Brent are going to be here in a few minutes, and they're going to help me go ahead and get the rest of it unmasked and all put back together here this morning. That went pretty well. The crew's going to be here any minute, and we're going to go ahead and get to ripping and tearing and make this thing look like a truck again. Well, I think we've got all of the masking removed and all of the parts reattached. Let's go ahead and walk around it and have a look. Okay, here we have a 2006 Kenworth W900. And here's the front part of the chassis on the driver's side before I close the hood. And here's the passenger side of the front part of the chassis before I close the hood. When it showed up, it had mirrors on the fenders on both sides. There's absolutely no trace of those mirrors now. There was some fiberglass work to do on the inside. You saw that. Little cracks up there on that cab corner. That's pretty typical. The clear coat was coming off of the fenders when it showed up. The back was as dented as any of these guys' trucks that we've ever done. Considering that these are predominantly highway trucks, I was shocked at just how dented it was. Especially 2006. This seemed like a 1994, Peterbilt that's been a ranch truck for the last 25 years. I mean, it was really beat up, but there's not a single hint of a dent or a ding in it now. This was all chipped up. The fiberglass cap here at the back was all chipped up. We got all those taken out. We sandblasted the chassis, double primed it, double coated it. Even got the hubs. Got the details. Yep, this guy is all freshened up and ready for the auction house. Well, that about does it for this escapade. Up next, we're going to try and finish up that 98 Pete that's sitting out front that we've got the hood ordered for. The hood isn't here yet, but we've got a lot to do before it gets here, so that's what's on the docket next. If you like this video, you should take the time to hit the like button. That's going to help me grow this channel. And if you want to see more of what goes on around here, you should check me out on Facebook at Flash Industrial Painting. And if you want to see more videos like this, or like domestic auto body, or gardening, or art, or any of the many things we do around here, you might as well just take the time to hit the subscribe button while you're at it, because we always got something going on. We'll see you guys around.